This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Right now, protesters rally again, the 8th night in a row, but demonstrations after dark will not be allowed in the city this weekend. Indianapolis is under a curfew from 8 p.m. tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins, social distancing from my temporary home studio tonight.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. There's another curfew set for Saturday night into Sunday, but until the clock strikes 8 on each night, protesters against police brutality say they will be on the streets, making sure their voices are heard.
Cameron Riddle is live downtown for us tonight. Cameron.
Mark and Amanda, you talk about making their voices heard, and this crowd is hard to ignore. We are leaving Northwest District headquarters right now and going on to 38th Street. So if you're on that portion of I-65 or 38th Street and you can't get off, that's because protests are coming down 38th Street. We are being led by a sign right now that says IMPD murdered Drayshawn Reed. The sole car that is in front of this procession is being driven by Jasmine Reed. She is leading us. She is the sister of Drayshawn Reed. And so you see these protesters of all different colors, of all different ages, who are no doubt hot. It is hot out here. The humidity is high. We have been standing on blacktop, but now it is time for this protest to move into a march. And I'm told we are going to head toward west on 38th Street and then toward Lafayette Road. This is night 8 of protests. And while we've talked about Breonna Taylor and we've talked about George Floyd, tonight it is all about the investigation of Drayshawn Reed. And as his mother, Demetri Wynn, continues to ask for answers in this case as we continue to follow the protests that are now officially here on 38th Street. You can continue to follow our coverage of where this procession is going right now on the WRTV Facebook page and on our Twitter at WRTV. Reporting live tonight, I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Of course, we're watching a peaceful protest there, but with last week's riots fresh in mind, Mayor Hogsett and Police Chief Randall Taylor today announced major updates to IMPD's use of force policy. Mayor Hogsett calls the proposed changes a modernization of a current policy, which he says was updated shortly after he took office in 2016. Among the highlights, chuck holds are officially banned. Standards for using deadly force will be updated, and officers will be prohibited from shooting into or from moving vehicles. Mayor Hogsett says a copy of the new use of force policy will be available for the public to review.
And experts say racial injustice and inequity starts early on but can have a lifelong impact. Call 6 Investigates analyzed Indiana school data and found a discipline disparity. Indiana ranks 4th highest in the country when it comes to the rate of out-of-school suspensions for black teens in middle and high school. Black students make up 12% of the state's student population, yet they make up 26% of arrests on school property. Experts say this discipline disparity has lifelong impacts on black people in our state. This school-to-prison pipeline study shows Indiana students who get in trouble at school are more likely to get arrested and end up in prison. The Positive School Discipline Institute is working to stop that cycle.
If there are more school resource officers in a school, there's more opportunity for a child to be arrested or to have an encounter with a police officer.
And the Positive School Discipline Institute trains school leaders, teachers, school police, and other staff about cultural differences, the role of trauma in children's behavior, and implicit bias, which are the unconscious views we all have about certain groups of people. This training is not required by law. However, there's a new push for schools to train their staff.
You heard Cameron mention it earlier in his report. If you've been out today, you feel it. The humidity is in the air, but not for much longer. As we look to the north, you see a few cumulus clouds building vertically just a bit, but the thunderstorms have really developed outside of the state of Indiana so far today. We'll drift to the north and east and go over 3 hours, and you can see those cut through southeast Michigan and then into Ohio. For us, the chance for any thunderstorms remains low this evening, but there is a cold front to the north and west. That cold front could spark a shower or thunderstorm, but there's an 80% chance you'll stay dry. 88 in Castleton, 85 in Martinsville. Temperatures around the region will be warm again tomorrow. It will just feel different because we're going to drop the humidity level. Between now and 10 o'clock, temperature only cools to about 78. Most of us will stay dry. We'll break down the changes that come for the weekend when I come back.
And now to the latest on the COVID-19 and the impact in the Hoosier State. Another 533 cases of the coronavirus were reported today. 27 new deaths were also reported. That brings the total in the state to 2,078. As we've previously reported, almost half of the state's deaths have happened inside nursing homes and other long-term care facilities.
The African-American community is one of the hardest hit when it comes to COVID-19. Researchers say not only are they testing positive at a higher rate than other races, but economic impacts and job losses due to the pandemic are also taking a toll. Megan Sanctorum found out how one organization is going above and beyond to provide basic needs and a sense of hope.
The mission here at the Indianapolis Urban League is to help African Americans and other minorities achieve social and economic equality. It's a mission some say is more important now than ever.
Depressed, kind of stressed out because you're not knowing how you're going to handle, your day-to-days.
First, it was the pandemic. COVID-19 shutting businesses down and putting people like Jerome Turner out of work.
I was already, in the middle of getting back on my feet, and then the pandemic hit, which, it just raises a lot of questions on how you're going to make it day to day.
Several months ago, the Indianapolis Urban League helped Turner get a job at Cummins, and now they're helping him and hundreds of others with things like food, rent, utilities, and phone bills.
You can't take the small things for granted. We know that while things are starting to open and back up in the community, that doesn't mean that people got their jobs back. It doesn't mean that their wages were restored.
Leaders with the Urban League say they've been able to help around 500 families each week. And it's thanks to around $250,000 in funding from the Central Indiana Community Foundation.
You start out like any organization, you've got a budget at the beginning of the year. And I don't think you ever plan for a budget for a pandemic and what the fallout will be.
And now, on top of that, protests across the nation continue as community members fight for equality and justice after recent events. The Urban League vows to be there for the weeks and months ahead.
My hope is that as a community, we will look at this and think holistically about what people need on a daily basis, not just during a pandemic.
They just, they just came through. They just relieved a whole lot of stress.
Also providing a sense of security and hope for the future.
I don't really feel like I have any worries because I have the support of the Internet Observer League.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
This story comes to you through a partnership between RTV6 and the United Way of Central Indiana. The United Way's COVID-19 Community Economic Relief Fund supports organizations that serve people and families affected by the pandemic. You can donate to the fund by texting HELP 2020 to 91999. Again, that's text HELP 2020 to 91999.
The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to focus on the issues getting in the way of you recovering from this pandemic. New unemployment numbers show thousands of Hoosiers still seeking benefits. As our Rafael Sanchez found out, more than 400 people are working on benefit cases that remain unpaid.
Getting to the point now where we're able to resolve more issues per week than we have coming in. So you're starting to dig out a little bit from what we've experienced. But absolutely, there are some individuals that have been waiting. And we're continuing to work the oldest claims first, continuing to add people, continuing to expand responsibilities of staff that we've got, because again, we're determined to work through this, and we want to make sure that all Hoosiers are timely receiving benefits when they're eligible, and that's a real priority for us.
Is there a common theme to the people that are still waiting? Are these people that were part of the gig economy? Were these people that did not work enough in the given time period? I mean, what is the common thread that is holding people back?
So there may be a couple different categories. I wouldn't say there's a single common thread. There are absolutely some of those individuals that were in the gig economy We'll consider that almost an entirely separate group because, as you know, that was a brand new program that we developed in response to a new congressional act. So we'll sort of consider that one group of issues. Again, even with that group, something like 85%, 86% were processed immediately in but then there's this other group of individuals that we have to work through to ensure that they're eligible for that federal act. In terms of the regular state benefits, most individuals that would have been waiting for that long of a period of time, most of them would have a separation issue on their claim, meaning that either they or their employer has indicated that they quit or were fired from a job. Those are more intensive investigations. They require phone calls to both the individual and the employer, and it also requires a more specialized claims investigator to work those cases.
Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And the Department of Workforce Development says 95% of all claims filed in March were paid, 92% in April, and more than 84% in May.
An annual event raising awareness for diabetes will happen this weekend with some big changes. Coming up, we'll show you how it'll work and how you can get involved.
Ace of Homes every Sunday morning at 11:30. This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
For the first time in its history, the American Diabetes Association will host a virtual Tour de Cure, and the event is tomorrow morning, and will be on Facebook Live. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with a look at the virtual event and how one team is working to be the #1 fundraiser.
Well, if you look at the Tour de Cure homepage, you will see that Team Indy Kappa is the #1 fundraiser in Indiana for their category, and they hope to keep it that way through Saturday using a little friendly competition. Their captain, Derek Jackson, says he keeps his team motivated by letting them know not only where they stand against other teams, but where they stand against each other. He says he believes that motivation is the reason they're on top right now. The ADA gives out awards for people who meet fundraising milestones, but members of Team Indy Kappa say that's not why they do it.
Well, it's just a great organization. We try to do the best for the community that we can, and I encourage everybody to join it. And we want to end diabetes throughout the nation, throughout the world, and we can just try to do our small part to help with that cause.
Their team plans on participating by biking 23 miles on Saturday. They say they won't be racing, just pedaling and remembering the reason they're out there. Even though the event is tomorrow, it's not too late for you to sign up, or you can still donate, and I'm sure Team Indy Kappa would appreciate a donation to their team. For more information on how you can get involved, head over to theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Thank you, Kelsey. RTV6 is the media partner for Tour de Cure. Opening ceremonies featuring our own Kevin Gregory will begin at 7:30 tomorrow morning. You can watch it live on our Facebook page. Kevin.
Rise and shine, and sunshine will be with you. You'll cast a shadow all day long. What's down in the Gulf of Mexico now, a tropical storm, will impact our weather, it looks like, in the middle of next week. I'll have more details coming up.
Two doses are better than one. At least that might be the case when it comes to the coronavirus vaccine. Earlier this week, we can tell you, Dr. Anthony Fauci said a vaccine could be widely available by the end of the year. Now, a Harvard professor tells USA Today it's highly likely the vaccine will require 2 doses about a month apart and a booster after a few years. Multiple dose vaccines are not uncommon either, especially those given to children. Drug maker Moderna is about to move into the final phase of testing on its coronavirus vaccine.
Most grocery stores have taken extra safety precautions in efforts to stop the spread of the coronavirus. But according to a new report, some did better than others. A marketing research group surveyed 2,000 customers and sent secret shoppers into hundreds of stores across the country. They found Whole Foods scored best for health and safety. 98% of employees wore masks and 91% kept 6 feet away while interacting with customers. They also installed plexiglass barriers and touchless payment options. Costco came in second, followed by Trader Joe's.
We are just about ready to step into what will be a much less humid weekend. Temperatures will still be warm tomorrow, but with the humidity lowered a lot, that'll make it feel better. We're dry. That's another headline. Lower humidity and then dry conditions. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we can always use a dry stretch. It has been a rather wet stretch of days from May into the early part of June. Temperature down to 88 in Lafayette. You've dropped 3 degrees in the last hour. 91 the high temperature there. Temperature in Bedford's 86, the same in Sullivan. Full moon tonight. It was nearly full last night, but we'll get a good look at it as skies will generally be mostly clear, and they'll stay clear tomorrow night as we have all that sunshine in between on Saturday. Humidity goes way down as we go through the weekend. 82 will be the temperature on Sunday. Tour de Cure, we mentioned that earlier. The humidity's low, north wind around 10, 79 at noon, less humid in the afternoon, 85 for the high. That's still warm. It's still above average, but it will feel pretty good compared to the 85, 86 degrees that we have now. There's your north wind. Those are the gusts. It won't generally be that strong. North 5 to 10 miles per hour with the higher gusts. Saturday, temperatures range from the lower 80s in northern Indiana to the middle to upper 80s. Terre Haute may be one of the warm spots. We'll only hold the warm air and moist air to the southwest for so long. It will start to come back and rather quickly early next week. Sunday, a great day of low humidity and lots of sunshine. 82 in the afternoon, high temperature. Temperatures from there will continue to warm up rapidly early next week. 87 Monday, 91. The temperature peaks Tuesday. Chance for thunderstorms will increase from Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night and Wednesday as a result then of Cristobal, tropical storm that will move through the Gulf Coast over the weekend, come ashore not far from Louisiana the way it looks, and then curve up through the Midwest into the Great Lakes area as we get to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. That may bring more wind, rain, and heavy rain in some cases. Temperatures will cool off as a result of that rain and cloud shield that arrives in the middle of next week, but that's after our 91 Tuesday. We cool off on Thursday and Friday. By next Friday, we'll be in the 70s for an afternoon hot. We'll be back with more news at 7 right after this.
Welcome back. It's been a tough spring for the class of 2020. Some high schools are hoping to host graduation services this summer.
But as Rafael Sanchez reports, many schools are finding creative ways to hold graduation ceremonies.
This 3D animation shows how vehicles loaded with families will pull in and park for the Jay County High School graduation ceremony. It's been weeks of planning.
The kids felt it was important. They wanted to be together, even if it was a little different. We were committed pretty early on in doing everything we could do to give them this memory.
The school system is working with indie-based Front Runner Media, a student-led production company that will lead the live streaming of the ceremony honoring 240 seniors. Frontrunner's efforts will be watched by those in their vehicles or in their homes.
Gives these seniors a chance to at least have a shared experience when it comes to their graduation.
Students on track to graduate are receiving diplomas in unique ways. Speedway High School had their ceremony at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Welcome to the graduation ceremony of Crispus Attucks High School for the class of 2020.
Eric Graham Dotson.
IPS is hosting virtual ceremonies for seniors at its 4 traditional and 2 alternative high schools.
Our pleasure to officially recognize our graduating class by turning our tassels to the left.
In Jay County, their ceremony will also be broadcast on their local radio station, and the school district will overlook one key rule on graduation day.
When a kid's name is called, that moment that we used to say in our gyms, oh, please don't make a noise or horns. We actually ask the families, honk your horn. As soon as you hear your child's name, your senior's name, honk your horn, put on your 4-way flasher so we can see you and wave at you.
Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And here's some good news. Seniors at Jay County will be now able to walk on stage to get their diploma. However, their families must stay in their vehicles. And by the way, IPS will graduate 1,053 seniors by the end of the day.
Well, thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. Our next newscast is tonight at 11.